Hi, my name is CRife, and I'm with CRife's Holistic Nutrition. And today I have the privilege of being here with Dr. Jennifer Welch. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
Sure. My practice here is Iowa Functional Health, and I'm in Clive, Iowa. And I try to look at everyone from all three angles of health, whether that's nutritional health. We do labs. I have people with a lot of chronic conditions that are stuck with what they've been kind of left with, which is often medications or sometimes no direction, and so they find us because they want another path to try to go down and heal themselves. So we do labs. I recommend diet and nutrition changes based upon those labs. The other piece of health that I look at is emotional health, which is kind of swept under the rug a lot lately.
It is.
And so I do a technique that's called neuro-emotional technique. That is kind of a mind-body medicine, if you will. And I got certified in that a few years ago, and it's been a great asset to my practice. And then the third aspect of health is structural, and in my practice I focus more on neurological, and I do have some conditions that I specifically focus on, from brain wellness, low back pain, knee pain, and neuropathy. So I do a lot here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So this place is called Iowa Functional Health. Can you tell us about what is functional health? I've heard that word. We've heard this word thrown out. We've heard the word holistic thrown out. But what is functional health?
Yeah, I mean, so functional health is making sure that your body functions the way it's supposed to, not covering things up with medications or other treatments. It's trying to get down to the root. What happened? Why did this person's health turn the way that it did? And if we can isolate or find out the usually it's not just one thing. I think that's a common misconception, is that there's one thing wrong. And from a functional health perspective, there's usually multiple pieces that all come together, but it's trying to identify those and make changes where we can to fix those things from a function perspective.
I think that's an amazing thing that you said. You said two things that really stuck out. One was that you get to root causes, and two, that there's usually multiple things going on with someone instead of just one thing. And I think that there's so many times in health where if we go to the doctor and there's multiple things wrong with us, sometimes we're told that that's more so in our minds and not something that's actually functional. And so it was really awesome to hear you say that that's a part of what what functional health is. It's actually looking at that. So I really enjoy that. Can you tell us about specifically about NET?
Yeah, neuro-emotional technique. I guess that's the part that gets to be kind of like it's all in your head, but your mind, there's a big connection between your mind and your body. And so whether something happens to you and you find yourself struggling because of a trauma, or some people even have like nightmares and they don't understand what the nightmare is, why that keeps coming back for them. There's all different uses for NET, but it's a mind-body technique. It actually blends the wisdom of acupuncture, although I don't do any needling. I touch acupuncture meridian points. Those acupuncture meridians are associated with different words, emotional words, and then there's homeopathy sprays that may or may not be beneficial for that person to help them process that. But it's trying to figure out whether the issue that keeps recurring for them is a stress, that we can then neutralize that stress and use this process to do that. And it makes, usually for people, huge leaps in their healing process.
You can't see me smiling underneath this mask, but I'm smiling because this information is so important and it's so needed, and it's so exciting to even know that this is out here and that this is a possibility, that you don't always have to take medication. And it also sounds like like what you do is really individualized.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people come and they say, have you seen anybody with, you know, my condition before? I'm chronically fatigued, or I can't sleep, or whatever the symptoms are. And I've been doing this a long time, so chances are pretty high that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But as I always tell people, just because I've seen someone like you doesn't mean I've seen you.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 100 different reasons for symptoms to appear, and we just need to figure out why they're there for you. So yes, it's very much individualized.
Thank you so much. I think that's important to know that there are individualized services, and we don't have to go to a facility where, you know, we already know. I've heard of people even saying to me, like, they already know that their prescription has been written before they've even gone to talk to the doctor about what it is that's going on. And it's because sometimes, you know, services can get so routine that the individual is taken completely out of it, and now they're just a number and just a data record. And it sounds like functional medicine and what you do here is really different than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if I kind of think I know, sometimes I'm proven wrong by the testing that we do. That's why the testing is important.
Mm-hmm.
Or following the process. Like with NET, what I, you know, when I talk with someone, what I think might be their most important issue, that might not be their most important issue. And so I'm not here to try to push my agenda on them. I'm just I'm here to facilitate their healing journey. So
thank you. Thank you. I'm going to take a moment to take myself, you know, out of this view of the camera, and we're gonna just have a couple of more questions that Dr. Welch talks to us about before we leave today. Can you tell us what you want us to know about you, and
I'll take my mask off.
Specifically what you do here and how that can help other people.
Yeah, so people come here for a number of different reasons, whether that's hormonal or autoimmune or digestive health. Those are kind of the big three ideas that bring someone here from a functional medicine perspective. Typically, people are not necessarily proactive. They wait until they have a problem and then they're trying to fix the problem. So a large part of people that seek out my help are people that have been struggling for a while. And we, from a nutrition perspective, take them down a comprehensive discussion of their health history, run some labs, make sure that we're looking at the complete picture, and make a decision based upon those findings as to what the next step should be for them. With NET, sometimes I get referrals because people are, especially now that it's 2020, people have been struggling a lot, and stress is a huge, huge factor. It is an underlying factor in a lot of health conditions. And the more I've gotten into NET, the more I see that in people. I sometimes will pause a nutrition consultation because I feel like the person really needs help in the NET side of things, whether they do that here or if I refer them to someone else. But stress is such a huge factor, and so that process kind of has its own path. I usually recommend a series of 5 treatments for that, because the first session is a little weird. You're just going to try to see what it's about, and it's not really necessarily going to do a profound healing experience, but each one kind of builds upon the next. And then from the structural side, that really honestly comes from my own journeys. I had neuropathy a couple years ago that made it so I couldn't use my right arm, and that was eye-opening, because you know, it's one thing to be a provider of health and help others, but when it's your problem, it's a whole different ball of wax, you know. And so I knew that I didn't have many options when I had my neuropathy, so then I decided I'm just going to own it, and I'm going to help others with neuropathy. And because of neuropathy, I ended up kind of trickling to knee issues and hip things, because they all are associated with neuropathy. But so people find me for neuropathy too, and I feel like I'm one of them because I felt that pain. So That was long-winded, I know.
No,
But
that was really good, and I think that gives some insight that even through this journey, even as health providers, we've all gone through some part of this journey too, in order to get where we are, and we're still going through a journey.
for sure.
And so it's really good to know that, you know, you didn't just wake up and have it all together, or because you went to school you had it all together. You know, you had to live it too at some points, and
For sure.
practice.
Or inspired by people that we care about. You know, that's really where the nutrition aspect of my practice started. Is I was never one to take medications. If I had a headache, I would try to suffer through it.
Mhm.
If it was unbearable, I would take something for it. But I just knew that my body wasn't having a headache because I was deficient in an Advil. I needed, something was wrong. So I would try to rest and take care of it. And I always was that way with anything. I tried not to take a medication. So it was always my nature to be holistic, or not seeking a medication to cover up the problem. And, you know, then watching like my family members that are close to me have their health journeys, and like, what could I do to help them heal better, or not have to do as much of, you know, this therapy. If there's something that I could do to help them, then that inspired me to learn all I could about that and help them, and then in the course of that help others. So it is definitely a journey on both sides.
It is, and you definitely have, you know, not just the professionalism, but you also have like the heart and the passion for this. And personally, I can say that really trickles down to the clients. You know, I've had the opportunity to use some of your services as well, and they trickle down to me. But how do you, just in your normal day-to-day, how does your passion affect your clients?
Oh, well, yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess I try to, whatever problems I'm personally having, a mentor of mine said, you hang it up at the door when you come in. So my personal stuff, hopefully, and as far as I know, doesn't influence my day-to-day. When you're here, I'm focused on the person that's here for my help. And I really truly want to help that person. And so I think I think from my feedback, not only from you, but from other people, like, they're just like, wow, you're so positive. And it's, and I really truly do try to, you know, if I'm negative, then it's not going to get us anywhere. So I try to be as positive and optimistic, and the body's always healing. And if you're here, you're wanting that help for that health healing process. So I guess if that's passion, I didn't think about it because I just do what I do. But yeah, I do try to provide an environment where you have the optimum chance of healing, where you feel safe, where you feel respected, and so yeah, I'm glad that you noted that. I don't know what to say. So
No, I love that. Is there anything else that you can add to the video, and that you want to let anybody know, or when they're even thinking about, you know, maybe their care or their treatment or their journey?
yeah, you know, kind of a little more so maybe on the NET side, because I think that's, again, something that gets swept under the rug, is this emotional health. Is that as I think I mentioned earlier, the more I've done NET and studied NET, which is the only technique that's shown to make changes in via functional MRI imaging, which is why I was fascinated by it. So many people now, I know that that's a key root cause for them, whether they're willing and open to accept that or not. And so if someone watching this is even thinking like, hey, functional health might help me, the neuroemotional side is is probably a key factor, and sometimes I don't open the door to that right away because people aren't ready. They maybe come for nutrition and we try that, we start that path, but sometimes we'll hit a wall, and that wall happens because we haven't addressed the stress in their life. So I guess if there's a takeaway, it's to maybe put a little more thought into that emotional side, because it is a huge root cause. So like adrenal fatigue and everything, as I say, we could do things to help your adrenals, but if you're always running from the bear and we don't fix the bear or neutralize the bear, then we're always just going to be kind of spinning our wheels. So even in natural health care that happens. So
right. I love that you said that too, because I think it's so easy to almost not recognize that we live in a world where we're told not to have emotions, or we're told that if you have emotions that you're too sensitive, or you're told to keep your head up. But there's something huge to be said about working through that emotional stress first, and then allowing that to help in your healing process.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the harder cases, I feel they're harder cases. They have built up so many walls because they've been told, or they've been let down, like when they've tried to do things and it hasn't worked out the way that they had hoped, so they build up another wall, another layer to protect them. And sometimes they're the harder ones to help because they have to let you get through those barriers. But so it's a trust thing, not necessarily just with them trusting me, but just them trusting people in general to let their guard down. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We have kind of like, everybody should hold their head above board and not be very emotional, but then you end up stuffing it inside, and that's not healthy either.
Exactly. Well, I greatly appreciate you for being here today, for taking your time.
You're welcome.
To do this with me, and I really look forward to the feedback from other people, and I'm hoping that people come here and they see you and they utilize your services, and that they walk out, feeling more whole than what they have ever felt before coming in here. So thank you so much, Dr. Welch.
Thank you for interviewing me. It's been fun.
And CRife's Holistic Nutrition. CRife's holisticnutrition.com is my website. You can visit my Facebook page at CRife's Holistic Services with Purpose, and you can visit my Instagram page at CRife's Holistic Nutrition. Thank you all.